Hello, this is Kelly Hamon, and welcome to the Resiliency Coach podcast. This podcast showcases people who have faced difficult times and how they got through it. These experiences are real and sometimes raw. The people who share their stories are here to tell you you're not alone in your struggle. They share the tools and resources they use in healing. If you're looking for solutions for getting through tough times, contact us at www.resiliency.coach. So today I'm interviewing my friend, Kara Herron. Kara is a breast cancer survivor of 13 years and runs a not-for-profit support group for survivors. So Kara, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast today.
Thanks so much, Kelly. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with your listeners.
And we are honored that you could spend some time with us today. And would you share your story with us now?
I would love to share my story. They are so powerful, these stories. So my story starts at age 42, about 13, 14 years ago. It's really a story of miracles. I like to tell people that. So I just feel like I could see God in every detail of this whole journey. I, at that point, had been sick all summer with some female problems, endometriosis, and my symptoms just wouldn't clear up no matter how many different medicines we tried. And so this is where the first miracle comes in. I went to the emergency room. The doctor suggested I go in for a pap smear, and I hadn't had one in years. And I told him, well, you might as well schedule a mammogram at the same time, and I'll just get both dumb things done at once, get them all over with. So I went in for that first mammogram, and I got a call back, and they wanted me to come back in. They said, we just found something. We just want to do another mammogram. So I actually went back in and I asked the tech, can you show me what you found? I just want to see what that is. And she showed me 3 tiny little spots, white dots on the very edge of the mammogram. And she said, right there is what we're looking for. You want to go in and get a closer look. And so I said, all right, we'll do that. This was in July of 2008. And here was miracle number 2. So I was sick. Miracle number 1 was I was sick and I just couldn't I couldn't get better. Miracle number 2 was when the technician told me that she had never in all her years of doing mammograms gone back that far against the chest wall in her first mammogram on someone. She said, I don't know why I did it. And really, she had to have gone back that far or she wouldn't have found what she found because it was right against the chest wall in the back. So that was miracle number 2. So we did a second mammogram, and because of the skill of that technician, we were able to find another cluster of those white dots. So at that point, I started, I went to talk to the radiologist, and he just said, I really think that you need to do a biopsy. Let's just see what this is. It's probably not a big deal, but let's figure this out. So after having that biopsy, I was diagnosed with what's called DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ. In situ is just, I believe it's Latin for in its original place. So it was really non-invasive. It was all where it started. And the way you figure that out is you just go in and cut everything out and take it out. So miracles 3 and 4 happened during this biopsy, and actually 2 biopsies. What we did was the first one, the technician called me and said the borders weren't clear, just meaning there were spots on the edge of the tissue. So we need to go back in and get the rest. But just so you know, when we cut that tissue open, we found an invasive tumor that did not show up on the mammogram. And so I said, oh, that changed things a lot, really, for my oncologist. So they went back in, did the same thing, got more tissue, cut it open, and found another invasive tumor. So by the time I was done with biopsies, I had 2 invasive tumors and I had DCIS. So that really changed my treatment plan. So my decision for it, and what I really I'm very grateful for doctors who gave me the facts and told me, they wouldn't even tell me their opinion. They just gave me the facts and said, here's what you can do. And I made the decision to do a bilateral mastectomy after a couple of other tests. The cancer board took over 2 months to make their decision. I learned that I was HER2 positive, which means that the cancer is growing at an accelerated rate, like really, really fast. And my doctor in those 2 months was very uncomfortable. He did not want to wait, but it took them 2 months. And because of some other testing and things, I decided to do a bilateral mastectomy, reconstructive surgery, 5 months of chemo. I remember I had a conversation with my doctor, and here's miracle number 5. He told me that if it wasn't for that mammogram and finding all of that, that we would not have found those tumors for probably at least 5 years. They wouldn't have been big enough to feel by touch. And because I'm HER2 positive and it's growing so fast, he said that in 5 years, they would have grown enough to put me in stage 4 breast cancer, and I would not have survived. He said he would not have been able to save me. So all of that, I mean, those 5 big miracles, they were amazing and really showed God's hands in things. So after a year and a half of treatments, I really was cancer free. But that was just really the start of a 10-year journey that really included becoming healthy, weight loss so I could get healthy and not have breast cancer again, personal development, self-care, serving others. All of that in the last 10 years has really put me on a completely different path than I was before. So that's my story.
Wow, what a story. So the struggle was cancer that you didn't know. You were sick. You just couldn't get better.
Right.
And so you went to the doctor for help, and the miracles just started pouring out.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm still here. I know there is. I mean, I have a lot of friends who've lost their struggle with cancer, but honestly, I think they did what they needed to do before they died. And I still must have some things I'm supposed to do because I'm not there yet. So
that's amazing. So the resources you used were medical, the doctors, the sonograms, or the mammograms.
Biopsies, those things were really helpful. They had little, as we were going through chemo, they have things like a group that comes in and helps you learn how to do your makeup because all your hair falls out and all of that. So I used a few of I went to one little class. There was a support group for about 1 week. And so I went to that one and then they shut down. So there wasn't a lot of outside resources besides that medical community.
That's awesome though, that you had the medical community that you could use.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very grateful for the doctors. I mean, they were wonderful. They really did save my life.
That's powerful. And I also heard that now, the process of self-development, did that coincide with the cancer, with the, can't think of the word.
I'll help you. Healing, that really, that the healing part of the cancer, I don't know if that's what you're asking, but that is what really helped. And I can tell you a little bit about that. So healing, at least for me and most of the women that I talk to, is a process. It's not like a one and done kind of thing. So during the time that I was going through chemo and all of that, was about 1.5 years, my husband bought me my first laptop computer and he said, I think you should write. And I was like, write what? And he's like, I don't know, do a blog. And it was like 14 years ago. And I didn't know what a blog was, but I thought, okay, I'll start one just so that I can track my journey. Because one of the things that chemo does is like, memory loss and your brain is foggy. And so I started a blog to track my journey. And it really helped me get out of my head and my emotions to get things down on paper. I was emotional in the blog, but it at least helped me get it down on paper. So writing was really helpful for me. I also decided during that time, I had all day, every day. I actually didn't work during that time. And so it was just the beginning of like kind of going online and finding things. And so I remember, reading about some celebrities that were moms and the way they handled motherhood. And it talked about, silly things, really, just really silly things. that I didn't really consider helpful in motherhood. And it got me thinking that, there are so many incredible women that I know personally. I would love to tell their story. So I actually ended up starting a blog called Incredible Women. And I did a whole year of interviews, weekly interviews with these women. And it really helped me. So that process of interviewing them, finding out what their struggles were, just like you're doing here, and finding out what helped them helped me in return. So that was a really fun thing that took me outside of myself and my struggles and allowed me to focus on other people, which was really helpful. And then there really weren't, as I said before, any support groups at the time. And so I helped found a support group, meeting a couple of patients through a doctor, my plastic surgeon, actually. I met a couple of other patients and we started a support group, and that has been running since 2011. We have like 1,000 women who are part of that. And that has been really something that has taught me so many, I've grown in so many ways, I can't even tell you, but I have met so many women through breast cancer that I am literally just so grateful for breast cancer in my life, because it has, that part has led me, in the personal development part. The other thing would be, in my health journey, I met a whole group of people who were getting healthy together. I became a health coach. I helped other people get healthy. And so really, it led me down this amazing path of just hundreds of people that I've been able to help and serve, which in return has helped me so much. I don't think they realize how much. So it has been an incredible 10 years. Yeah.
Sounds like an incredible journey. I've never heard anybody say that cancer was a blessing to them.
Oh, absolutely was. I can't even, yeah, it was, and the more that I connect with other women who are going through the same thing, the more I see that if we can just look outside of ourselves, and to really truly heal, we have to serve other people. It's just the way it is. And so, if I never would have had cancer, I mean, think of all the people that I would not have met, but also I would still be in terrible health. It was just like a ripple effect when you drop something in water and it just, the ripples out. That's what has happened. Like, that's the cancer. And then it rippled out into all different areas of my life. And there's no way I would have really focused, because I'm a coach, with the place that I coach with. We do a ton of personal development training. We do a lot of self-care training. And so none of that would have happened. I would be a completely different person if that would not have happened to me, or for me. I should say happened for me, because it did.
That's awesome that you created something beautiful out of something that could not have been beautiful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that the support group has given me the opportunity to start healing retreats that we do for our survivors. And it's something that I'm the very most proud of. We do them twice a year. We've taken over 275 women on these retreats in about 8 years. And to sit and watch, to even be a small part of their journey, but to sit and watch as they learn how to write about their story, because I learned how to do that. So I teach them to do that. And we have other people who teach them, some of the other founders and things, teach them so many things that will help them on their journey. And to watch them become like this cohesive group of women, about 20 of them, friends for life, that really changes their life as well. Those kinds of things, those are priceless kinds of things. So I'm super proud of that we've been able to do that with the help of the community, because we're a nonprofit. So
that's great. So the tools I heard you use to heal were doctors, medicine, as well as serving others, and journaling, not journaling, blogging, but in essence, that's what you did, was journal. And you did a lot of service, as well as you use diet to change your health also.
Absolutely.
If you had one piece of advice for someone that may be going through something similar, what would you tell them?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. Whenever anyone says one of anything, that's hard for me. If you don't mind, before I get to that, I did have some lessons that I learned that I thought would be really helpful for listeners in general, whatever they're going through. I found a quote by Anne Frank right after I finished chemo, and she said, "I don't think of all the misery. I think of the beauty that remains." And that has helped me so much because my body is different. I have more scars than I can count. I'm not really the same person I was before, but that reminder that still beautiful, still okay, was really helpful for me. So being able to reach out and look at or listen to things that people have said or learn about other people is really helpful. Taking things one day at a time. I can't tell you, it's the one thing that I learned during chemo. I would just say, okay, I know what's coming up. And if I can just survive until the day after chemo, then I'll be fine. And so it was really like every time I had to go in for anything, I would just say, if I can just do okay until right after, then I should be fine. And it has really helped me in my life with so many things. I think it's really important to focus on taking care of yourself, and that it's okay to do that. It's totally fine. My youngest was 11 years old when I went through chemo, and he learned to cook for himself. He learned all sorts of amazing things, and my kids are incredible, and it was a learning process for them too. And there's going to be lasting effects no matter what you go through, whether it's grief, or for me, my eyesight's not as good anymore. I have scars. I still have checkups every 6 months, and I have for 14 years. My hair didn't come all back. I've had 10 to 12 surgeries just with breast cancer. Like, those things leave their mark on your body. But honestly, I think that we just have to remember that, here's my advice: life is beautiful no matter what you're going through. Let people help, because they will receive so many blessings for helping you. Remember, we heal when we reach out to other people. Let people help. Find support. Find a soft place to land. That is one of our goals in our support group, is being a soft place to land for women. And to really create what you want now in your life, because no one is guaranteed tomorrow. So don't put anything off. If you want to travel to Italy now, not when you retire. If you want a vacation home, get one as soon as possible, not when you're 80. Do it. Reach out and do the things that you want to do, because we're here for joy, right? We're here for joy. And we want to create that right now. And don't let what you're going through take over that joy and turn it into darkness and sadness.
Exceptional advice. I love that. I love the concept that life is to live for joy, to have happiness, and to not put off the things you want to do, because none of us, you're right, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. None of us are guaranteed the next hour. Our next day could be under a bus for all we know.
Exactly.
And so to live today to the fullest, and to take joy from it, and not to allow the dark clouds to overcome our joy.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to have joy in life about. Exceptional advice. If somebody wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
I am on social media. So on Facebook, if you look for my name, Kara Lynn Herron, you can find me on Facebook. Instagram, it's at Coach Kara Herron, and I have another one at Kara Lynn Herron. My website is yourroadtohealthy.com. And my nonprofit's website is lifting-hearts.com. And then my email is yourroadtohealthy@gmail.com.
That's awesome. Can you please spell your name just in case our audience doesn't know how to spell that?
If you're looking for Kara Herron, it's Karalynherron.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kara, for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I love sharing my story. I hope it helped.
I'm sure it will and has for those that are listening. I know that what you shared has a lot of value for a lot of people. I'm sure with that advice, that's incredible advice for anybody, no matter what they're going through.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to really quick say, I think you at some point said you wondered what I thought resiliency was. And I had it, something happened to me the other morning that I thought would be perfect, just in closing here. I was out walking on my morning walk, and while I had cancer, I would watch a lady who was a little bit older. She had a cap on her head, and she walked outside with a walker very slowly, kind of just shuffling along, but every day. And I didn't during my cancer journey. I wish I would have, but she was such an inspiration to me. I thought, man, if she can get through whatever she's going through, then I can get through this. And just yesterday, it's been 14 years later, I was out walking and I ended up right behind her. And I was able to stop her and just say, this is going to sound weird, but I have been watching you for like 14 years. It's okay. I live right there. I just wanted you to know that, I have waited for 14 years to thank you for being such an incredible, inspirational example to me of tackling your problems, because that's how I got through mine, was because I watched you walk every day. And she was crying and I was crying, and she said, I have MS. And I just know that our bodies are powerful. And if we can just treat them right and do things like walking and just keep moving. She said she used to be a long distance runner, that we can actually have a wonderful life and we can get through anything. And so I think resiliency to me is just keep going, just like her, just keep going, and you're going to get where you want to go, and through all of life's trials.
I like that a lot. I like that, one, you never know who's watching or listening to your journey that needs to see it or to hear it. And that woman in particular was taking her own journey that you saw, and you became part of the journey. And she uplifted you, even though she had no clue.
Yeah, it was wonderful to meet her finally and tell her thanks after that many years. I'm so happy that I was able to stop her and say thanks.
That's so awesome that you were able to cross that line, to merge those two stories, to be able to tell her thank you. And I'm sure you uplifted her in thanking her in your journey. That's awesome. Here's another question for you. The way you were diagnosed, would you have preferred it any other way? Would you have preferred, were you somebody that did annual checkups normally or not?
No, I think I had one. I think I had found some kind of lump, but it just turned out to be like a cyst kind of thing when I was 39. And so breast cancer was not on my radar at all. I had no family history of breast cancer. Other than being a woman and being severely overweight, those were my two risk factors. And I didn't even think about it. Like, I didn't know anyone with breast cancer. It wasn't really a thing for me. My doctor, and the reason it took so long, I hadn't had a pap smear for a really long time because I had a hysterectomy. And so I I stopped needing them for birth control. Does that make sense? Like I used to go every year for checkups. And then once I had that hysterectomy, I didn't feel like I had any reason. So there's a good point, is that we really should be having checkups every year, no matter what. But I don't even know why. I can't remember now if it was something that just popped into my mind when he said, you need to have a pap smear, because we were trying to figure out if I had endometriosis, which I did have a family history of. And so I said, yeah. And then I think it just popped into my mind. I don't think anyone said you should have a mammogram. I was 42 and I said, I probably should have a mammogram too, because I haven't had one since I was 40. And I knew enough to know that you're supposed to have one every year from the time you're 40. And so I think that it was I'm glad that I found out through a mammogram, but goodness, how lucky for me that they sliced it open and found the invasive tumors. Cause to me, that shows me that there's more work for me to do here. There was a reason cause that 5 years ago, at that 5-year mark, when I said I would have not survived past that was 7 years ago, and in that last 7 years there's a lot that I've been able to accomplish. And so yeah, I really think that there was a reason for that. I think it's important. I just talked to my doctor recently, just my primary care, and he was, you really need to be coming in like every year for a checkup. And I do go to my oncologist every 6 months. They do blood work, but it's for specific things, right? For things having to do with cancer. And every once in a while I'll have a bone scan or something. If something weird's going on, I'll have something. I just had an MRI because my back's been hurting. But it's really to rule out cancer and not to say, okay, this, these things are happening, you probably should. So I have every 6 months a skincare appointment. Every 6 months skincare. So I have a lot of moles. And so my doctor told me that melanoma will kill me way faster than breast cancer. So I do that every 6 months. At the same time, I go in for my 6-month checkup. And I really do need to start going every year now for just a regular one. The older we get, the more we need it. So, but yeah, I've seen many women be diagnosed after age 40 after age 50, who weren't getting mammograms. So mammograms are a lifesaver.
That's important to know.
Well, thank you so much for offering to interview me. That was really fun. And I'm excited for you and your podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you, audience, for listening to Kara. And remember, there is a way through your difficulty. Please seek out resources and people who can and will help you. Now, if you're looking for alternative tools for handling difficult times or moving ahead in life, contact us at www.resiliency.coach. Hope you all have a blessed day and a wonderful life. Goodbye.